review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is award-winning and best-selling author, no other than Miss Marcy Axelrod. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Marcy, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Daniel, what an honor to be here. And I mean, you've been doing this for so long. You've interviewed a lot of people, and the preparation, the 20 questions, I mean, very impressive what you are contributing. So, a
Thank
little
you
more
so
about
much.
me. I mean, I started on Wall Street after Cornell, spent then 20 years on the opposite coast in Silicon Valley as a strategy management consultant. And what I will tell you is that the success that led me to do well, both on Wall Street and with KPMG Consulting in Silicon Valley, as one of the leaders of their high tech strategy practice, what led me to be successful in all of that is what is in this book. It is really understanding, why do people do what we do, what gets in our way, and what do we need to do to just cut through it all, to be real, to be authentic, to live the life we were designed. Did I answer your question about sharing a little bit more about me?
Definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And we are hoping for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you explain what you mean by nature's playbook in the context of the book itself?
Sure, right. So the subtitle of the book is Nature's Playbook for Creating a Meaningful Life and the World We Want. So it turns out that nature designed humans to show up a certain way. And once you understand how nature designed us, we feel happy, we feel healthy, we treat each other well. Let me explain where all this came from, right? So
Go ahead.
there was no playbook, right, for what it means to show up. People use that phrase, but do we really know? So I'm going to give you a definition for showing up, and then I'm going to explain how I started to focus on this and uncover this truth. So showing up is a way of living that reconnects us with ourself, with the moment in which we need to be present, and with the rest of society. So those are our three roles. Showing up is a way of living that reconnects us with ourselves, with our moments, and with the rest of what we belong within, right? So that we create the world that we want. Now, this started when I was age 6. I lost the ability to speak. I started to stutter. And it happened because we moved from Baltimore to Boston. My parents had these great new jobs. They were busy. My sibling really couldn't care. Maybe she was dealing with her own stuff. And I just wasn't getting the attention that I needed. So instead of kind of acting out, which some kids do, I acted in, and I kind of made myself sick, if you will. So that circumstance is what turned on my genetic predisposition to stutter, which was in the family genes. And that led me to not be able to show up as I chose. So there I am, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'm just looking around, and I was so stressed. If I wanted to, respond to the teacher's question in class, she would cringe. Everyone would cringe. Oh my goodness, she's going to have to call on Marcy. And out, on the blacktop or on the field behind school during recess, I would see, there's someone acting like a bully, someone acting like a scaredy cat, the teacher standing around not doing anything. And I thought, how can they throw their show up choices away? They're not really choosing how they're showing up. They're just showing up. And it really stuck with me. Then at age 12, I was sent to a rehabilitation hospital. They had a special program for stutterers to help us learn to speak. The program did not work, but it was traumatizing being there with all these people who had strokes They're in their 60s, 70s, 80s plus. And what I noticed is they have years of wisdom. There are these experts by their side helping them to learn to stand, to sit, to hold a fork and feed themselves. And they had these plans that were customized. And I said, look at that. Even people with a lifetime of wisdom, with experts by their side, with well-made plans, knowing how they want to show up, still struggle. So I said, why is it so hard? Where's the blueprint, right? Where's the playbook for what it means to show up as we choose? So that was age 12. I started to devour every book on psychology, neuroscience, behavioral economics, evolutionary biology, everything I could get my hands on, searching for the answer. And I realized, putting all of it together after 25 plus years, plus global surveys with hundreds of thousands of responses from people around the world, asking them, how do you choose to show up? What gets in your way? With all of this data, the model became clear, and it's so simple. So I'll stop there. That's the answer about what I mean by nature's playbook. I wrote the playbook that we needed.
Yes, certainly. The world's needed, Miss Marcy. So, how does nature teach us about living more meaningful life?
How does nature teach us? Because
Yes.
because we are nature.
Yes,
We
indeed.
don't, right? It's so wild how our language is so deceptive. Our language really screws us. We think nature's out there and the environment's out there and we're here. No, 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 no. Come on. If we don't look like a tree, look at us. You know what I'm saying? We're
Yes.
just branches. We are nature. Now, when I look at that tree outside, that tree is in three roles.
Yes.
And so are we. This is part of the model. So there's an individualized tree, and you say, okay, that's one tree, fine. It's, so call it ourself, right? The tree does what it does. It inhales the CO2, it gives us oxygen, it drinks water and kind of puts vapor into the air. We need all of these things. So in addition to being an individualized tree, what else is it doing? Well, it's part of a situation. Maybe there's water around, maybe there's not. Maybe there's sun coming down, maybe it's only in the shade. Maybe it's infested with insects, in which case, what's it doing? Its branches are interspersed, and we think now with almost every other tree on the planet. So there's a situation going on. So the second role is that the tree is part of whatever the situation is. Is there a storm? So at every moment, the tree is both an individualized tree, but it's part of whatever's going on. But it's also in a third role. Those roots that connect it with everything else, all the other trees are getting a signal about the infestation of bugs because it's sending chemicals through those roots. And the rest of the trees, guess what? They're giving that tree the antidote so that those bugs leave it alone. So that tree is part of, call it society, something beyond itself. Daniel, so are
Very well said.
human beings.
Yes.
You are an individualized self named Daniel Lucas. You've got a label. You're within a situation right now. You're listening to me. You're within a room of books. You've chosen to broadcast to the world the insights that you've gleaned. So there's a situation. You're feeling me, and I'm feeling you feeling me. So there's a situational role, that's role two, but you're also part of something larger. The whole reason we're doing a podcast is because you got a message from society that this is a good thing to do. So all of right now is those three roles, all of which are going on: your societal role, your situation member role, and your self role. So that's one of the big ways in which nature teaches us how to show up. And I'll tell you, when you walk into a meeting, one in which you're going to be judged, you can't be real, there's a bit of imposter, syndrome showing up, or there's defensiveness where you're just going to come in and like do your thing and like rule the roost, and there's a control mechanism going on. That's your situational role. And it's controlling your self role. And then all of that is going out into society, because the people are impacted, and then they share that in everything that they do for the rest of the day, and it's in their bodies. So I'll pause there, but this is really big. The 3 roles in which we're always showing up, and there's no way not to. And by the way, everything shows up.
Definitely.
Your family shows up, your religion shows up, your company shows up, politics show up, your vote shows up, the school system shows up, your child's soccer team shows. Everything is in 3 roles, and it is always showing up, and you can never stop it.
Very well said, Miss Marcy. Very beautifully articulated. So, how do you think our relationship with nature impacts how we interact with each other?
Our relationship with nature
Yes.
impacts how we, oh my goodness. I mean, I've got a whole chapter on that. I explain it. I call it all-telligence. So when we're in nature, we're calm. And when we're calm, that's the only way that we can choose how we show up. When we're not calm, we're not choosing. We're doing what I call just showing up. And I'll give you the continuum. The continuum of showing up has 3 roles. And I'll send you these slides to put with your, I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Level 1, barely there. Level 2, just showing up. That's what 80% of us do 80% of the time, according to my research. And level 3, truly showing up. When people are not in nature sufficiently, we become human doings. We feel stress. We're not healthy. We're living in far more left-brained, control over, grab it, get it done, check the box, move on. And Daniel, what happens is that the people around us become objects. We start to interact object to object instead of human to human. And the only way to connect with others, to have the depth of relationships that we want, to feel a sense of meaning, is to have a calm nervous system so that we can both be in the moment, but also kind of be up on the hill looking down, right? Have an awareness. How are we showing up right now? It's called meta awareness, and I talk about it in almost every book on emotional intelligence, and meditation talks about this. I specifically cite Richie Davidson from the University of Wisconsin, the Center for Healthy Minds, talking about this in his book with Daniel Goleman called Altered Traits. That just happens to be the book that I quote on this. But it's an awareness of your behavior so that you're not just reacting. You get to say, I feel what's going on, and I'm choosing to respond in a certain way. And then the whole collective nervous system of everyone around can stay integrated with you and with the others. And then you're truly showing up. Here, I'm going to show you one other chart because I explain how this happens. When you're barely there, you're only in your self role. So you've got this mirror, and you're facing the mirror, and it's facing you, and you're just in this, like, ego focused kind of teenage brain where it's like, it's all about me, and you can't see or feel anyone else or other perspectives. So you have no choice. You see, choose. You have no choice in that mode. Once you start to notice others, then you tune in. Wow, what's going on? That person is really opinionated about this. They've got a lot of conviction. You know what? That's fear showing up for them. You start to notice and tune in, and then you feel with, and then you enact care. And instead of being reactive or being triggered, you're far more present. You're attuning with them. Your body is emanating, this is a safe space. You can talk to me. I'm with you. You know, how does this show up for you? Like, what are you thinking should be done here? You're curious, you question. This is compassion. And this is when people feel felt. And you know what? They're going to come back to you and they're going to ask your advice and they're going to think of you when there's, you know, a new job that opens up. We need someone who we can trust to get this piece of the project done. And you're going to get the phone call. Why? Because you were able to truly show up.
Again, Miss Marcy, beautifully articulated. How important is mindfulness or presence in the way we choose to show up?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Daniel. So mindfulness is also a state of the relaxed nervous system. It is very much what I'm talking about here. I mean, showing up integrates mindfulness and emotional intelligence. I specifically encourage people to go a step beyond presencing, which is really what mindfulness is, right? Being able to deeply engage with what's going on in a calm, open, spacious way so that you can feel what others feel and not be threatened by it. When you do that, sometimes I feel that can leave you at the gate. And what I talk about is showing up steps you into the room. You go beyond that gate because you're switching from mindfulness to actually noticing, tuning in, and feeling with, and then enacting care. So the word that I use throughout the book is attuning. And I say attuning, not mindfulness. And I explain that. So thank you for asking. Attuning is far more of your nervous system resonating with someone else with an awareness and presencing to it. So it embraces that meta awareness state that I talked about. And by the way, tons of MRI studies. I cite ones at Stanford, Harvard, and I believe Cornell. It was 99 people in scanners facing each other. And when they were eye to eye, their brain waves kind of became one. And it's called interpersonal neural synchronization. That's attuning. And you know when you're doing it. And this is what connectedness is, right? That thing that people are grasping for and striving, right? I want to feel connected with others. I want a depth in my relationships. This is what it is. And I explain how to do it.
Miss Marcy, what surprises did you encounter while writing How We Choose to Show Up?
You know, the main surprise, you know, I've got pretty heavy hitting people who were involved. Mel Robbins herself wrote the quote for the cover of the book. I've got people literally who wrote speeches for former presidents, and a number of them said, like, Marcy, the insight, we have a choice in how we show up. I mean, that was a massive. I was like, whoa, how could you not have grown up that way? I very much grew up. You choose how you show up. I mean, in different words, my parents modeled choosing. So that was a big surprise that people live without recognizing you have a choice right here, right now, in how you're showing up. And frankly, you have a massive responsibility, right? Because the world is disintegrating in so many ways. And why are we here, right? We're here to help each other. We're here to make a better place, to make the world happier and healthier, not just the 2 or 3 people we live with, but well beyond that. So we're accountable. So let's understand what it means to choose, how we choose, and let's live a show up life instead of there being this show up crisis that's going on where people don't understand it.
Certainly. So, how do you balance the inner journey of creating a meaningful life with the outer work of creating a better world?
It's the same thing. There's first of all, life, there's no balance. The word balance shouldn't even exist in the context of balancing life. But the inner world and outer world are the same things. Daniel, right now you're feeling me and I'm feeling you. And when I reset my nervous system, I'm resetting yours. Okay, you are my environment and I am yours. So there is no difference. Your world is my world is your, like, this is the way it is. And when I say world, I mean how you feel in this moment. And you're going to take this with you, when you speak to your next guest in 30 minutes. So my world is that person's world, and I don't even know them. This is the work of Nicholas Christakis, actually. He's a professor at Yale, a physician, and he runs a behavioral science lab. And he showed, the people you're with are 45% more likely to do what you do. And doing means thinking, feeling, and acting. I have that statistic in both of my TED Talks. I mean, it's a big deal. So there is no difference between your inner world and your outer world.
Totally the same. People, so why do you believe nature is such a powerful teacher for human development?
Because we are nature. We're not in nature. We are nature. We're not on the earth. We are of the earth.
We are
Right?
part of it.
Yeah, there's a great quote from Alan Watts, right? Just like an apple tree apples, the earth peoples.
Certainly. So, who do you hope pick up this book, and what do you hope they feel after reading it?
Oh my goodness. I want everyone to pick up this book. I've got quotes in it from educators who say, God, what, Marcy, this needs to be taught in kindergarten.
Yes.
There was recently a principal at a high school who said, who asked me if I would be okay giving a copy of the book to every graduate at the ceremony last May. And I said, sure. So who should read the book? Really everyone. So leaders, you want to understand why people aren't engaged and your workforce is kind of quietly quitting and kind of only cares so much, or maybe you actually have real retention issues where people are just leaving. Leaders, this is the solution for that. Managers, right? You want to create loyalty. You want to create trust. You want people to come to you. You want people to be able to be real, right? And bring their full selves, their truth to their work and to their meetings, to their teams. This explains how to do that. So read the book.
Grab a copy.
And contact me, be in touch. I didn't spend 20 years being a strategy management consultant, not learning what the fundamental issues are. The research that I did goes back 20 years to create this book.
Miss Marcy, how can people start making small, meaningful changes in
Yep.
their everyday lives after reading your book?
Yeah, you can make this change right now. So this is what I recommend, and it's heavy hitting. If you do it, your life will change. What I want you to do each day is choose one person who you can just observe. Just look at them. Maybe from across the room, across the office, across the parking lot, across the convenience store, the supermarket. Just watch them in an open-hearted way. If judgment shows up, notice it. Wow, I'm judging that person. And let it go. And just keep observing. And you'll say, wow, that person's choosing apples at the supermarket just like me. Wow, I wonder if they have a son or daughter who loves apples just like my kids do. I wonder if they have to peel their apples for their kids or if their kids are older. And you start to notice. And then you start to care. And the phrase that comes up, just like me, wow, maybe that person feels stressed. They keep checking the time. Maybe they've got to run. They're late to whatever it may be. an engagement, a dinner appointment, a carpool, picking up their kid, meeting their spouse, getting work done at night, going to a second job, you know, wow, I really hope things smooth out for them. I hope they can relax. May they be peaceful. May they be happy. May they be healthy. So that compassion arises. So this is a show up exercise because sometimes it's easier to see in others what we can't see in ourselves. And you're moving from your left hemisphere get it done mode into your connectedness mode, which is the right hemisphere. Jim Doty, the center, he's a brain surgeon at Stanford University and the head of their Center for Compassion and Altruism Research. He's also now leading, I believe, the Dalai Lama Foundation. He talks about going into heart mode, but it's the same thing, whatever you call it. You're switching from judging others to being human to caring. So that's what I recommend. Take 3 minutes a day, find someone and just observe them as a human being. And what you'll find is your mirror turns outward. And that's what this is about. Connecting with intent to serve. That's the skill for our societal role. And that's who we need to be because it creates our situational role, our presencing ability. And then that creates a self that's not an ego-driven self, but an interconnected self that truly sees and feels awe for the world.
Miss Marcy, what would be your advice for those people out there who want to choose to show up?
My advice, yes, choose. Put reminders in your calendar, or just do it when you first wake up. How am I choosing to show up right now? Or look at the 3 important things coming up this week. Right? It's this moment with my child. It's this time with my spouse. It's this time at work. It's this time actually doing work. Look at those 3 things and ask yourself, how do I want to show up to that? That's a readiness practice, and readiness is the skill for our situational role. There's a skill for each role. Grounding in ourselves, readiness for our situations. And I have a chapter on each. I have 30 pages. I explain what readiness is. I explain what grounding is. And then connectedness with intent to serve is the skill for our societal role.
Thank you for your advice, Ms. Marcy. And what will be your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Oh, wow. So this is a bestseller. I mean, I want millions of people to buy this book. So my goal is that people choose how they show up and that they teach others how to choose how they show up. Buy the book, give the book, gift the book. I really want this understood. I'm also going to be doing an audio book and summaries of this. By the way, the ebook is really cheap. I think I made it 99 cents for a very long time. And then Amazon came to me and made it, I don't know, $4.95 or something. I'm not making money from this. It's my calling on the planet to help people understand the truth about showing up. So those are my goals, is that people understand showing up. It's not about me. I'm just a vessel getting the word out.
Thank you for empowering us, Ms. Marcy. Are you planning workshops, retreats, or other projects connected to how we choose to show up?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing a bunch of free workshops, probably through LinkedIn. So go to my website and let me know if you'd be interested. It's choosetoshow.com. And let me know if you'd be interested. Please give me feedback. What resonated with you? What didn't? Sign up for the mailing list. It's very infrequent that I send stuff out, but I will definitely be posting very short but value-rich pieces about how to integrate the truth of showing up into your day.
Certainly. Ms. Marcy, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Abstract Essay, in its 5th season. People, 5th season. And sooner or later, Ms. Marcy will be featured on Abstract Essay because we're going to talk about her magnificent creation. So please do listen Abstract Essay wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Marcy, if you could leave readers with one core message from your book,
Mm.
what would it be?
It would be, it is that we all have a responsibility to make the world a better place. And the way to do that is to choose how you show up. It starts with you. So recognize you're impacting the world at every moment and practice turning on your compassion circuits by observing other people in an open hearted way, not a judgmental way.
Definitely. Miss Marcy Axelrod. Thank you so much for empowering the world and thank you for your knowledge. We are looking for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books? Miss Marcy, where they can buy your books?
Oh, Amazon. Go to Amazon and look for Marcy Axelrod or How We Choose to Show Up.
Yes, indeed. Yes, people, let's support Miss Marcy Axelrod because if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Marcy, thank you so much for your time.
Daniel, such a pleasure and an honor.
More to come, people. See you soon. So for the abstract essay, Miss Marcy, just go to my booking calendar and let's do it for the